important. Now we'll see what are the reasons for the site-specific delivery of the drug. The reasons can be pharmaceuticals, that is, for example, drug instability as delivered from the conventional formulation. Uh, any drug which is unstable in the acidic conditions of the stomach, it's getting degraded, and therefore the net concentration of the drug in the GIT itself, it is going to decrease. So in such case, you can have a drug delivery system which will be protected in the stomach and which will release the drug only in the intestine. Yes, anybody, what is the solution for this? That drug unstable in the acidic conditions of the stomach, you want them to be protected till it is in the stomach. What is the remedy for that?
Enteric-coated.
Very good. So you can have enteric coating of such drug. Then another reason is solubility. That is, if the drug shows poor solubility in certain conditions, and you know that unless and until the drug is in the solution form, it will not get absorbed. For example, weakly acidic drugs will be more soluble in the intestinal conditions. So in such cases, you want the drug to be present in the intestine uh, for a longer time period so that it is present in the solution form and it is getting absorbed there. So you want the drug to reach in the intestine in the intact form. So therefore you want to targeting of the drug to the intestine. Next is biopharmaceutical. That is drugs which are showing low absorption. Means the drug is not getting completely absorbed. So in such cases, you want to improve the absorption of the drug. So you can go for the targeted drug delivery system so that the amount of the drug available there will be more. Then there are certain drugs which show high membrane binding. So if it is high membrane binding, the amount of the drug reaching to the target site is not sufficient. So in such cases, you will go for targeting the drug. Then certain drugs which are unstable, biological instability of the drug. So for proteins and peptide type of drugs, they are not stable in the GIT. So in such cases, you can locate it at the target site. Then pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic properties. There are certain drugs which have got short half-life. You know what is short half-life? Half-life means the time taken for concentration to be reduced to 50%. So if the biological half-life is shorter, then the time for which the required concentration of the drug will remain there is shorter and you may require to have more frequent administration. So instead of that, if your drug goes directly at the site of action, then its problem of short half-life you can to some extent cover up. That is one thing. Then for the drugs which have got large volume of distribution, means it is getting distributed to all the compartments and therefore the net concentration at the site is less. So if the concentration is less, it is not going to exert the required effect. And so in such cases, if you target the drug to that particular site, then the concentration reached there will be higher and therefore you will get the required effect. There are certain drugs which show low specificity, means they will go to all the organs and then wherever you want actually them to go, the concentration reached there is less, means they have got low specific to that particular target site. So you can have some changes in the delivery system so that the drug is targeted to that particular specific tissue and you will get the required effect. The next factor is clinical factor. That is the drug which have got low therapeutic index. What do you mean by therapeutic index? That is the concentration which is lethal, ratio of concentration which is toxic to the concentration which is effective. That is the effective dose. So if the concentration which is toxic and concentration which is effective, if it is same, then your therapeutic index is 1, right? So you want a therapeutic index which is larger, because what will happen if the therapeutic index is 1 or if the therapeutic index is small, the difference between the toxic concentration and the safe concentration is very small. So you are not able to control if the drug may prove to be toxic. So therefore, in such cases, if you go for a conventional delivery system, the toxic effects will be observed. But if you go for a targeted drug delivery system, you know that you are going to use a low concentration of the drug because it is going to that specific target, and because of that, the the lethal effect of the drug will not be observed. So the drugs which have got low therapeutic index, in such cases where the difference between the toxic concentration and the safe concentration is very small, you can go for a targeted drug delivery system. Another reason, clinical reason, is that anatomical or cellular barriers. That is, certain anatomical regions, like for example brain, it prevents the movement of the drug across the blood-brain barrier to reach in a required concentration in the brain. So in such cases, if you use a targeted drug delivery system, it is able to cross the blood-brain barrier because of the modifications which we make in that drug delivery system. So this anatomical barrier can be overcome by the targeted system. The last is a commercial approach for the targeted delivery system. There are many drugs available in the conventional dosage form, and if you want to increase the life cycle of that particular drug in the market, the company can go for preparing some advanced drug delivery system of the same drug, and that can increase the life cycle of the drug in the market. So these are the reasons for the site specific delivery of the drug. Now we'll see what are the advantages of drug targeting. That is, the drug concentration in the required site can be sharply increased without the negative effects on the non-target compartments. Why? Because you are taking the drug only to the site, to that specific site, so the concentration there is more, and the same time the concentration at the other non-target compartment is less or no nil, and that's why you don't get any negative effects or side effects or toxicity of the drug. Another thing is that you are decreasing the concentration of the drug, because the drug is going to go only to the target and not to the other sites present in the body. And therefore, the amount of the drug is reduced, the frequency of the administration of the drug is reduced. So that is going to reduce the cost of the therapy, right? Then the drug administration protocols may be simplified because of the reduction in the frequency of the dosage form. Now we'll see what are the advantages and disadvantages of this system. Advantages: reduction of the side effects because the drug is confined to the target. There is a reduced frequency of the drug intake. There is a reduced dose of the drug. There will be uniform blood level of the drug, and there will be maximizing of the therapeutic index of the drug. That is, the actual dose is less than the lethal dose, so you are increasing the therapeutic index of the drug. What are the disadvantages of this system? There is a rapid clearance of the targeted system, that is, from that particular system where the drug is being targeted, it will get cleared very rapidly. So in this case, we can have a combination of targeting and controlling the release. So you will target there as well as you will control the release. So slowly the drug is released and at the same time it is targeted. So that can be, this disadvantage can be overcome. Then whatever the carrier system which we are using for targeting, we have to thoroughly check that carrier system. There may be immune reaction against the carrier systems. Then the next disadvantage is insufficient localization of the targeted system in the tumor cells. There are certain factors which will lead to less localization of this system in the tumor cells. Then there is a diffusion and redistribution of the released drug. That is, a drug which is released in that particular area, it gets diffused and it may get redistributed, and therefore you may not get required concentration in the target area. And this requires special type of the excipient, special technology, and therefore this delivery system will have a higher